in Bitcoin, dude.
I did.
How many? Oh, you did?
No, I did. I tried to buy some more,
Okay.
and that's where it didn't work for me using. Well, doing Coinbase, I had to use.
Because I seem to
debit
remember the last time I mentioned it to you, it was like under 20,000, and it's like last time I looked at 63,000.
No, the first time you recommended it was at 40, and that's when I
Was it at 40?
invested a little bit of money, nothing like you do, but now it's at 60. So I was wanting to buy more, and added my. You can't do it through a credit card. You have to do it through a debit or cash or PayPal or something. Turn that little light on right there. There's a light. There's a switch on the back. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. That'll be a little bit better. Yeah. There we go.
So there's a concept that you'll hear, and it's called stacking sats. So basically, you have one Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. Okay. There can only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in existence. Okay. After that, no more. It'll be like the year 2140 by the time the last one's printed. But once the last is printed, that's it. But you can subdivide one Bitcoin into 100,000 pieces, right?
Yeah, and you can invest any. You can invest.
100,000, yeah. But one of those little pieces is a Satoshi, right? So basically, like, what the Bitcoin has 8 digits of resolution on the number, so it could have like 1.000000001 Bitcoin. That's the fractions you can go down to. So stacking sats is like in a concept. It's like I'm gonna collect Bitcoin, and it's irrespective of what the price is. So I don't care if Bitcoin is 2,000 or 20,000 or 40 or 60 or whatever. I'm stacking sats. I'm not paying attention to a dollar denominator. My denominator is Bitcoin, and that accumulating Bitcoin. So, I mean, you could go back to 2014 when I bought my first Bitcoin, or now. It doesn't matter. It just, like, back then I was stacking more sats than I am now, but I'm still stacking sats.
And you can invest any amount, in Bitcoin, basically.
Absolutely.
There's no, minimum. You can buy, a little bit or a lot, and so I just bought a very, very small amount.
Well, usually my opening suggestion to people is get skin in the game, and I usually say just get 1% of one, and
right,
like right now, $600. Most people can afford that. That's 1% of a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that you're going to want to kill yourself if you lose it, or something gets stolen or something like that. Yeah, it's going to suck, but it's just a place, just to get your mindset, because now you're going to have your reticulating, activating system. You're going to be seeing Bitcoin everywhere and reading the news, and which is good.
So here's a question. So a lot of people, like, that is a big worry. Bitcoin's been hacked, 30 million here, 40 million. There's been a lot of stuff.
Okay. So let's back up a little bit. Bitcoin doesn't get hacked. People get hacked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So just so we're clear on that, like Bitcoin has never been hacked. It's backed up by AES 256.
Right.
Hashing, private keys. It's like government grade encryption, right? So it doesn't get hacked. It's poor implementations of software, people getting phished, people getting social engineered.
Yeah.
That's what gets hacked.
Yeah, I think right now that is what I'm hearing a lot of, is that like in 2018, 2019, 2020, there was a lot of different hacks. They made a lot. They
Right.
made a lot, and
And
most
not-
of it was
And not
social
one,
engineering.
Not one of those times had you self-custodied your Bitcoin on a hardware wallet, would your Bitcoin be at risk?
Yeah. So, maybe explain a little bit more about the wallet.
Sure. So
like I went into Coinbase. I spent some money. I bought up some of it, and that's it.
It's sitting
I don't
there.
have. Yeah, it's just sitting there. It's not
sitting there, and you're like, maybe I should self-custody this, right? Because right now you've got custodial risk. You've got your Bitcoin sitting on an exchange. Who knows what could happen? Government could try to seize it. It could be. It's essentially, it's not your Bitcoin. It's an IOU that Coinbase owes you X amount of Bitcoin, right? So you need to actually take possession of that, self-custody it, in order for it to be truly yours. Because then, the only way for you to release that to anybody is on your own, your own volition, right? So, basically, right now your Coinbase, your Bitcoin sitting in Coinbase, just waiting there. There's a button in there. It says send, and you can send that Bitcoin to an address. And the address is it's a long string of letters and numbers. More possible. I think there's more possible Bitcoin addresses than stars in the universe, or
big number.
I don't. It's a big number. It's a big number. So what you got to do is to self-custody it. Several different ways, several different levels of security. With a small amount, you can self-custody on a phone. You could go right now, download an app, a Bitcoin wallet. There's several different open source Bitcoin wallets you can download, and then from there, you create the wallet, you generate the wallet. You record your seed phrase, which we can talk about that in a second. Generate an address, and then go into Coinbase, copy that address, paste it into Coinbase, say send. You're probably going to pay a small transaction fee, because there's transaction fees necessary. So it's going to take a little dent, and then the Bitcoin's in your wallet. If you, and that's in. You want to start out small, just have it on your phone. That's fine. Like if you lose your phone, if you brick your phone, that wallet's going to generate what's called a seed phrase, and it's 12 or 24 words, dictionary words. I think there's 4,000 words in this dictionary. It's just a standardized format, and if you know the words and you know them in order, you could go buy a phone, download your wallet software, and put in your seed, and you'll be up and running, back up and trucking again.
What if you forget your phrase?
And you lose your phone? You fucked, mate.
So
don't do that.
You can't lose your phrase.
Don't lose your phrase.
You can't lose it.
Put it in a safe. Some people they they buy steel plates, and they punch the phrase on a steel plate. You put it in a safe deposit box, put it in your safe, tattoo it on the bottom of your foot. I don't know. Just don't lose that, because that's your Bitcoin.
Right.
That's what unlocks your private key. Just like any private key cryptography. Your Bitcoin address is essentially like your public key.
Right.
Your private key is what the device you use to sign the transactions to prove that you own the Bitcoin, which eventually causes the transaction. It generates what's called a UTXO, and a UTXO is basically it's basically a spot in the Bitcoin database blockchain. If you're a blockchain before, that proves that you own that particular unspent output. So where were we? We're talking about wallets.
How does the blockchain? How does the whole thing work? What's that technology about?
It's a good analogy. So it's like any database.
It's like, is it like a public-private key?
No,
encryption, or-
it's an in the clear database, out, decentralized. So people are running Bitcoin core software all over the world with this copy of this database. It's a blockchain database, and it's a chain of blocks. So all of the transactions for Bitcoin get put in this thing called a mempool, and then the Bitcoin miners basically compete to put the final transactions into the block. So basically, the miners will compete by mining, solving a difficulty hash problem, a hashing algorithm problem, and the winner gets to pluck what transactions it wants out of the mempool, add them to a block, and it basically just gets appended to the blockchain. So if you picture like a spreadsheet, or like any kind of database where the database is flat, this database is kind of siloed. Like you're basically like stacking transactions. So you'll stack a block on top of another block, and the higher you stack the blocks, the more secure the lower blocks get, right? Because you're basically securing earlier blocks by stacking later blocks on top. So you can't. It's really difficult. It would be really difficult mathematically for you to, dip back down several blocks ago and try to change a transaction.
Right. It sounds like that's. They ought to use something like that for like elections or something, right?
Like voting, yeah.
So we can have like same-day votings and
blockchain voting. Yeah, blockchain voting has been like a concept for
that makes
a
sense.
long time. But it's like how do you you'd have to give everybody their.
Well, there could be like
private
kiosks everywhere, and hey, this is voting day. Go in there, and then you could go back through and see in the ledger that what your vote was.
But how? I mean, you'd have to. What would you have? A voter ID? God forbid. You have to prove yourself on the blockchain that you are you. So you have to have some kind of private key, right?
Yeah.
To prove that it's you. So.
Right. Yeah.
DNA. Yeah. You just go and stick your finger prick on the little voting machine.
That would be your private key, is your DNA. But
what can go wrong with giving up your DNA to the government for voting?
I don't know.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong with that? But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good investment. Is there a maximum amount that Bitcoin can be valued at? Like each coin, is there a ceiling to the
price?
Yeah.
It's whatever somebody values it at.
So right now it's at like 62,000, 63,000
ish, yeah.
But there's a ceiling to how many actual coins.
Yeah, there's a ceiling to the supply. There's no ceiling to the potential demand. So I think you could kind of extrapolate from an economics perspective what it could do price wise.
Yeah.
And it's in a completely different place than it was in 2014 or 2017 or.
Well, it seems logical to think that at some point, they're gonna go to some kind of a Bitcoin currency and get rid of the dollar. Maybe with this Brexit thing, people moving off the dollar or something like that might push us into some kind of electronic currency or something. I see that as happening at some point.
So I don't think we'll ever truly get off the dollar. I think they're just gonna keep printing it into oblivion. And I think like it's not. This isn't quite Bitcoin related, but they're in a lot of ways they're we're digitizing the dollar already because we have what's called stable coins, which are digital representations of the dollar on various blockchains, including like Ethereum and stuff like that. You may or may not have heard of CBDCs. You heard of those before?
A little bit.
Yeah, those are basically what governments are trying to push on their. It's kind of like a pseudo blockchain thing that represents the currency, but it's completely digital, and it's on supposedly on a blockchain or something like that. And most countries that have attempted to doing that have failed miserably. There's a lot of resistance to doing that in the U.S. But we have a lot of billions and billions of stable coins currently in circulation now that are pegged to the dollar. And a lot of these stablecoin providers are buying U.S. treasuries, they're holding U.S. paper or stuff like that. And people all over the world are using them. And I don't think the U.S. is crying about it because they now have a customer to buy all of these garbage, all of this liquidity. And people in all of these countries like Venezuela and wherever are able to preserve their wealth in dollars. Hate the dollar all you want, but it's still probably the best currency out there today. It's probably the top dog. This is to say it isn't dog shit, but
what about this? All these countries consolidating together and creating their own currency, so that they don't have to use the dollar. So the U.S. doesn't.
Yeah, you
pay them
got
over
the
head all time.
BRICS, stuff like that. The problem is money comes down to trust, and
People like their greenbacks.
yeah,
Right?
and well, okay. So the U.S. freezing Russia's assets recently eroded a lot of trust in the U.S. dollar. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But what are your alternatives? The Chinese yuan? No, nobody trusts frickin' China. Not even China's closest allies trust China.
Yeah.
So what currency are you going to use?
Yeah. I mean, but if you think about it, when we're the debt is like 33 trillion or whatever, and we're going to add another trillion to Ukraine. I mean, at some point, it's going to be worthless. I mean, you have inflation that's pretty crazy right now. So, they just print money. So
Yeah.
that's the issue I see.
They're just going to
with
keep
the dollar.
Yeah, they're just going to keep printing it.
Right.
Just to reduce your spending power, to essentially tax you, and to print their way out of all this debt. I mean, what's 34 trillion? What's 50 trillion in debt when a gallon of milk costs you $1,000?
Yeah.
What's I mean, look to Zimbabwe and you see what $5 billion notes or whatever ridiculous. So. Inflation's the train's very distracting.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it off for you.
Yeah, but we're always gonna have fiat currencies. Some countries may try to back their currencies with gold or Bitcoin or whatever, but you still have to trust them. You still have to trust that when they say this is backed by gold, that they have the gold in a vault somewhere, or you can go anytime to a bank and convert it to gold. Like there's just so much trust involved, where there is zero trust involved with me holding an ounce of gold, or having a Bitcoin in a hardware wallet. Zero trust. I don't have to trust anybody.
Who would you say are the biggest investors in Bitcoin? Is Elon Musk investing in Bitcoin?
I think Tesla or SpaceX still has some. I think it's Tesla. Still is like $1 billion, but there's different buyers. So you got corporate buyers. I think the number one corporation that owns Bitcoin is MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor is the CEO. He's a huge Bitcoiner. He used to bash Bitcoin, and he did a 180. And now MicroStrategy owns over 100,000 Bitcoin. Then you've got, Then you've got the ETFs. So you had another huge owner used to be Grayscale, which is a trust. They recently converted to an ETF. I think they held like 1% of the supply, which is insane.
What is explain ETF a little bit more.
ETF is just a wrapper. It's called an exchange traded fund. It's basically a wrapper that you can wrap around assets so you can trade them on traditional stock markets. I think NASDAQ. So you have gold ETFs, S&P 500 ETFs.
But what's the advantage of that?
From a Bitcoin perspective, not much. I mean, you don't get the benefits of Bitcoin besides price appreciation, if that's all you're after. But one benefit would be I can go into my IRA on E-Trade and I can buy a Bitcoin ETF, but I can't buy Bitcoin, right? Traditional, hedge funds can go.
So basically, it allows it to be bought and sold on the stock, do trade or whatever you have.
Yeah. So if you were to go and buy $60,000 worth of whatever ETF, I think there's one called HODL, or there's BitB, or there's a few different ones. But if you went and bought 63,000 worth of that ETF, the ETF provider, be it BlackRock or ARK or whoever, Franklin Templeton, they all have Bitcoin ETFs. They'll go to the spot market, they might even go to whatever the other kind of market's called, I forget. But they'll go out on the street and they'll buy one Bitcoin in your name and add it to the ETF. So you have created liquidity for Bitcoin, but it's essentially just an IOU.
Yeah.
But they will add that Bitcoin to their Bitcoin address for the ETF, right? So they'll be essentially holding your Bitcoin for you, and if you sell that share of the ETF, they'll go sell it back onto the market and liquidate it.
Right. So is your strategy just to buy it and forget it, or do you move stuff around, or? Because I bought a long time ago, just a very small amount of money. I used to play the stock market and bought some old, I can't think of the name, some old oil stock. Can't even think of the name of it, but and it never really did much. So I just took all that money and I put it all into AMD, the chip maker, which was really low at the time. It was like in the 20s or something. And I just put some money in that and just never looked at it ever again. And I came back to it about 4 or 5 years later, quadrupled. It's just, so that's the way I just think of the stock market. I say, if you're going to invest, it's a gamble. Just set it and forget it, and maybe go back and look at it later. But
yeah, I think it kind of depends on your.
Don't really rely on it for making money, income.
Yeah, it kind of depends on your mindset. I mean, there's buy and hold investment strategy. There's people that trade. I mean, I
because the brokers and everybody makes the money off of the transactions. So to me, it's like, instead of paying fees, it's just put it in something and just forget about it. Just,
if you
because it's going to go up and down and up and down.
Sure, yeah. If you believe in the long-term strategy of that stock and believe it's going to be around 50 years from now.
AMD, I'm like, I'm pretty sure, we're a competitor with
Yeah.
Intel, so I just made an assumption. Hey, they're going to be around a while. They're going to be, designing chips and competing with Intel, and so I thought that was pretty good.
You know who's been going ape shit lately is Nvidia. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Have you seen that
Yeah.
stock?
Oh yeah. Well, isn't that part of that? Isn't that for the generating the bitcoins or?
Used to be, not anymore.
Are they, so do people are still generating Bitcoin? How hard is
Not with.
that?
Okay, there's a question. So when Bitcoin was first created, back in 2009, you could mine it on a laptop. Like it didn't take much.
Yeah.
And every block won you 50 Bitcoin.
Wow.
Right.
Oh my God, you'd be rich.
Yeah. Like I forget what year it was, but there was a dude that he bought a couple pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. Laszlo something.
Wow.
10,000 Bitcoin. But then back then it was like it was worth a penny, right? I mean it wasn't even a thing. Like
Right.
yeah. Who knows in retrospect? Like if
Right.
he hadn't have bought that pizza, maybe maybe he was the butterfly that caused the tidal wave, right? Who knows?
Right.
So I don't think anybody's too many people are buying Bitcoin with a fraction of a Bitcoin, to be honest. Most people that are buying it are buying to hold it to preserve their wealth, right?
So when we were talking about this earlier, I think it was around 40,000.
Yeah, do you want to like we can keep going with the mining?
Well,
let's
sorry.
talk about the
keep going.
the PC. So you can mine on a PC. You get 50 Bitcoin for winning a block. Wasn't a whole lot of miners involved at that time. So that was the first 4 years of Bitcoin. You got 50. Okay. I don't know specifically what year, but somebody discovered, hey, I can mine Bitcoin with a GPU, with a video card. Video cards are really well suited for solving math problems, hashing.
Pull that up a little bit. A little closer. Yeah, just in case.
Okay.
We're missing all your great information here.
I'm pretty loud, so.
Yeah, you sound great on the headset. So.
Okay. Yeah. So somebody discovered that, hey, these ASICs are really good. They're really better than running a CPU, and so then people started running those, beating out the CPUs, and then before too long, everybody was running GPUs.
Right.
Shortly after that, Ethereum emerged, and people started using their GPUs for that, and then they switched from GPUs to FPGAs, which are like programmable ASICs basically, and then you get to where we are today, where they're ASICs designed specifically for mining Bitcoin. That's all they're designed for. That's all they're tuned to do, and that's what we have now. And those are measured in terahashes. Like I have, like I'm a small scale miner. I just do it for ideological reasons, not for me actually making money. But I have like 300 terahash running on the network right now, and I don't know. I'm probably spending more on electricity than I am mining it.
Right.
But I'm providing security to the network to protect the Bitcoin that I already own. Is the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
So now there's an arms race. Miners are measured in. I think the latest ones will do 200 terahash. I have three. That basically together do about 300. So it just Moore's law, I think, is coming into play. So it's gonna get harder and harder as more people mine. And occasionally you have these events where the miners just get wiped out, like a few years ago, they outlawed it in China. all the miners closed up shop, the hash rate of the entire network just plummeted.
Now, why would they outlaw?
Well, I think in parts of China, at least, power is free, and it's hydro, and I think there's that, and China just likes to. They don't want people to have any sort of sovereignty. They want
Yeah.
capital flight. I mean, the easiest way for capital flight out of China would be Bitcoin. So, plenty of Chinese still dabble in Bitcoin, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you can't mine it on an industrial scale. A lot of those miners are in Texas now. A lot of that stuff gets shipped to the U.S.
Right.
A lot of that stuff is probably old hardware that got shipped to the U.S. That's probably not in use anymore. But most of the miners are now in Texas and various other locales. But yeah, China just pretty much dried up. But they were at a time they were coming up on half the network, which is a big no-no in Bitcoin land. Like Bitcoin is vulnerable to what's called a 51% attack. So if you have 51% of the hash rate, you can attack the network essentially. It's a little bit difficult.
Seems like that'd be hard to do.
Yeah, very difficult and very uneconomical. You'd have to spend.
You'd have to be like a nation state.
And the miners themselves are divided into pools. So different miners might have their own pool. They might join a pool with somebody else. So you'd have to get control of multiple pools, have enough hardware behind you, pay for the electricity.
So let me go back to what you're doing. So you say you have how many hashes? Like you're
300 terahash.
300 terahash. So tell me how you're doing that and more about that.
So I'm paying a hosting provider to host my miners for me. So I own the miners. I depreciate them. They send me a bill for the electricity and the hosting fees. And then when my contract's over, I can decide like, okay, do I want to sell this miner? Do I want them to ship it to me? Whatever. I can. It's a piece of hardware. I can depreciate it. So
do you think that will be worth a lot, or
the hardware itself?
Yeah.
No, I mean the hardware cost. It's like any kind of equipment. It's just gonna be obsoleted. So I think the idea is my idea is to just to buy a miner every couple years or so, and then the oldest one just take it offline, sell it, and just kind of get a rotation going.
Nice.
That's unless I get a situation where I can find cheap power and I can open up my own industrial scale mine or something like that. But this is just like hobbyist thing. This is just like I want to run one instance of the latest miner and then age out the old ones and just participate in the securing of the network, basically. And then my miner might be hosted, but I control the miner itself, the software. So I can actually tell it, okay, I want to mine to this mining pool. So you might start, Brian's mining pool, and I could join you, and we could mine together, and we could pool all the rewards, and can kind of control that aspect of it.
So when you're mining, what is actually happening?
So basically, there's a difficulty level that the network sets for a hash problem. Okay, so all these people all around the world and all these mining pools and solo miners and everything, they're all competing to solve this hash. And the winner of the hash gains the right to add a block to the database.
So how do people do that? Are they like through brute force, or how are you trying
it's brute.
to?
It's essentially your brute force attacking this hash. You're solving this hash, brute force attacking, and the difficulty is set such that on average you're going to solve a block every 10 minutes. So the Bitcoin network is going to process a block of transactions every 10 minutes. If it takes longer than 10 minutes, then every couple weeks the network is going to adjust its difficulty down in order to make it take 10 minutes. Or if it's too easy, if the network is too strong and it's solving them too fast, the difficulty is going to go up to make it more difficult. So it's just to try and get the average around every 10 minutes a block. And then a block consists of so many transactions. The transaction size is really going to control how many transactions are available in a block. With all the enhancements and stuff to Bitcoin, I think you can fit like the official size is 1 megabyte blocks, but you can realistically they're like 4, which isn't a ton of transactions. But basically, the miners they're picking the most. When I send a Bitcoin, I'm saying I'm going to send Brian this Bitcoin, and this is what I'm willing to pay for transaction fees. Okay, if I cheap out, my transaction is going to sit in the mempool for a long time waiting, right, until a miner decides they want to pluck it out, which is maybe never. If you cheap out completely, they're going to be like, this is a garbage transaction. You're going to have to go in and cancel it. Which, if there's a way to cancel it, you can just rewrite your transaction with a new one, and it will just override it. But that's a little more complicated. But essentially, like, if you want top priority, if you're sending $100 million worth of Bitcoin, and you want to make sure you get it in the next block, you can go into your wallet, you can tweak up the transaction fee, and the next miner that's available to grab it, he's going to grab that because he wants it.
Yep.
And they're basically assembling them in the mempool. They're solving these hashes. They're assembling these blocks, and then they win. Bam! They're creating this block, and they're taking the cream of the crop of the transactions that get them the most money.
Wow.
That's what I think. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I forget what the question was.
And depth. That was very, very, very good. Yeah. So I think most people, that I talk to, still are fearful. They don't trust it, and they think it's, they're going to lose all their money. But like I say, it's like Coinbase, which is
it's magic internet money.
It's magic internet money. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's insured. I mean, I read up on Coinbase, in which the company I went through device a little bit. I think they got hacked or something at some point, but they refunded everybody, and it's kind of like insured. So unless the company went bankrupt or something.
Yeah, that's like reputation insurance. Like if I don't know. I would say if all of their wallets got drained simultaneously, they might go bankrupt or something like that. But yeah, like a smaller size hack or whatever that's not your fault. Like I think if you get phished or whatever and somebody hacks into your account, it's your fault because you didn't properly secure your account. That's probably on you.
Yeah.
If somebody hacked into Coinbase's back end and stole a bunch of shit, yeah, they would probably cover it. They're one of the biggest players if not the biggest player, right? So
I think most what I'm reading or understand it's mostly a lot of social engineering where people are getting, that's still the big one, vulnerability for folks getting tricked.
Yeah, like if you're using SIM card, I mean, if you're using a 2FA,
Right.
SMS 2FA, for example, like you're getting a text message to secure your account,
Yeah. That I think that's exactly what they got.
Yeah,
Got hacked is the SMS. Yeah.
yeah, you could get, someone could just pretend they're you, call up T-Mobile or Sprint, whatever, get a duplicate SIM card, do an account, recovery using that SIM card, get access. What's the solution to that? Never use, SMS 2FA.
Right.
SMS 2FA is okay in certain situations,
Right.
but not for banks and stuff like that. Like if I have something I want a little more protection than just a password, I'll do SMS 2FA. But anything beyond that, I'm using
Hardware.
I'll use Google Authenticator or what is it, OTP or whatever. Just the format that just
Yeah. Yeah.
changes the code every 30
Right.
seconds.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
That's how I log into most of my
Yeah,
stuff.
that's the most secure thing.
Yeah.
If you've got that,
How sad that we have to use that for everything.
Yeah,
To
well,
be
it's-
secure, right?
yeah, pretty much for email and anything
Yeah.
that can be used to identify yourself and transfer funds or control your funds, and that's essential.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
I mean, banks, you are insured, so that's good, and credit cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you still, I mean, banks. While that's true, that's still a
Yeah.
pain in the ass, a
Yeah.
major inconvenience if you get hacked. Even if,
Well, identity theft is a pain in the ass. Ransomware, hey, give me a Bitcoin or I'm gonna release this, all the sites that you're visiting on your internet. That's a big one still is ransomware. Or
and most
blackmail.
of that's fake, right?
Well, I mean, yeah,
I mean,
they're
most
saying,
of
hey,
it's
we're
like
gonna,
it's scare.
we're gonna release
it's a
all
scare.
the sites you're going to, right?
Yeah, but 99% of the time somebody sends you an email like that,
Right.
it's fake,
Right.
right? And you can't respond because you don't want to prove that you're a real human behind the email. Like, you just
Yeah.
kind of gotta ignore it. Like if they were to send you an actual, video of you
Right.
in a certain situation.
Right. That's another
Well,
thing.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I have a picture of you, business site,
Yeah.
and okay,
Yeah, so
great,
what?
great.
Right.
What do you
Exactly.
do about it?
Yeah, but
Prove it.
when they lock your computer up and ask for hey,
Yeah. Well,
that's another thing. And people, there's organizations that do pay, to unlock.
yeah. I mean, as an individual, just pack your shit up.
Yeah. Hey, you wanna take a bio break real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pause it. Okay, so we're back.
We're back.
How do you hear me? Okay. Turn the volume down a little bit. A little echoey. So I guess to get back to the Bitcoin. Just one more thing on that Bitcoin. So what is your whole what even got you into Bitcoin? I know you do a lot of eBay, got me into that, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But what is your whole kind of philosophy on that?
Am I still on mute? All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean you're live, but yeah, you can put that there.
Yeah. Okay, stop stuffing my face here.
Yeah. Well, how's the pizza? Good.
Yeah, not bad.
Okay. So
like,
what got you into that? I think,
Bitcoin from a philosophical perspective.
well, I mean, you do a lot of Bitcoin, you do a lot of eBay. I mean, you do a lot of eBay. I mean, you got me into eBay, and I found it's just a lot of work to make money. I mean, you're making quite a bit of money compared to like that I was doing. But what's your whole kind of take on Bitcoin though, as far as investing?
So you mean like philosophical standpoint?
Yeah.
I've always been into technology, and with gaming, stuff like that, where you can capture digital value. Like if I were to play World of Warcraft, for instance. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of that before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these various computer games. Well, there are items and gold and whatnot in these games that have value, and
keep going. Keep going.
oh.
That's gonna turn.
But the problem with that is all your value is stored in somebody's database, right? So if I farm 1,000,000 gold in a game like World of Warcraft, for instance, that has value. I could sell it to somebody, but anytime Blizzard could decide like you're not allowed to have gold anymore, or they could devalue the gold or whatever. But it was just kind of my first taste of digital value, and then kind of like learning about Bitcoin and hearing about it, it just kind of instantly clicked with me. Where I'm like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Something like that within the confines of a computer game would be great, So at that point, like I started reading about it. I saw a Slashdot article. This is quite a while before I actually owned any. But at the time, I want to say 2012, I started following it really, 2012, 2013 maybe, paying attention to it, but I was living overseas. So I'd always have in the back of my mind, I need to get home and I need to mine it, because I didn't realize at the time they had an exchange you could buy it, Mt. Gox, which ended up being hacked, and a bunch of Bitcoin stolen out of it. I was kind of conceptually, I was aware of what it was and what it did. I started following this Twitter account called what was it, Truth or Bot? It used to tweet out the price of a Bitcoin every day. And I remember it was tweeting out like $50.
Yeah.
And I just would see it fluctuate. I'm like, oh man, I gotta buy some or mine some, or how do I get it? It just kind of sat in the back of my mind, and then finally Coinbase, I think, started up in like 2014, where you could actually, legitimately buy a Bitcoin without wiring money to Japan or meeting some random person on the street to local Bitcoins to buy it in person. And there's all kinds of challenges around that. But
right. And you spent most of your time overseas in Africa, or?
No, so 2007-08, I was in Iraq for about a year and a half. Came back for a little while. 2009, 2010, I went to Afghanistan. Came back for a little while, and then 2012, I was in Asia for about a year. That was about the time I first learned about Bitcoin, and I remember like it was also traveled a lot while I was out there, like just sightseeing and stuff. So I remember like specific. There's
Hold this up a little bit.
Yeah, I forget what country it was in. There was like an anonymous statue. I remember that. I don't know why I tied it into Bitcoin. I forget which country it was, but I remember there's this anonymous statue, and I thought about.
What do you mean by anonymous?
It's like a hooded figure, like a. But I kind of associated that with Satoshi Nakamoto, who was the creator of Bitcoin, who has never revealed him or herself. Well, I mean, Satoshi, I think, is a male name, so revealed himself, but it's a pseudonym, I think.
Great. So,
what was that? What was the original question?
I can't remember.
It was why it was like philosophical reason or yeah, it was a philosophical reason behind why it interests me.
Yeah. I think yeah. I mean, I when I first met you, you were really into eBay, selling and all that, and I started doing that a little bit, just kind of based on you doing that. So I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah, the way that kind of fits together for me is self-sovereignty. Like, I really do not like being dependent on anybody, whether that be a job. Happy to have a job, happy to go to work every day, but from my perspective, I want to feel like I can lose that job anytime for any reason and have something going on.
Right.
eBay is just in its simplicity.
It's like a hobby that you just.
And
really
it's so simple.
Yeah. It takes work though. I mean, it
does take work, but it's kind of
effort.
It's kind of cumulative sort of work. Like, even now, I probably have over 1,000 things listed on eBay currently, and a few things sell every week. I'll make a few $100 right now, but the problem is I don't have fresh stuff coming in.
Yeah, you have to look for it.
Yeah, so when I had fresh stuff coming in, $1,000, $1,500 a week was easy.
Yeah.
But right now it's just kind of, you got to have the fresh stuff coming in. You got to stock. You got to stock your, because you don't know what's going to sell and you don't know when it's going to sell.
That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's odd because things that you have forever, then all of a sudden sell.
Yeah.
And so it's just
things that you find, they're like, this is ridiculous. This is never going to sell.
Right. It sells.
Yeah, it sells.
Yeah.
So you don't know at any given time what somebody wants, and the more obscure and the more rare and vintage, frankly, like vintage stuff is great. Like and it's easy for me to find, and it's stuff that people overlook, like vintage electronics, electronic parts, components, stuff like that, that I can identify. I don't even necessarily have to know what it is, but I can say, this looks like it's valuable. Let me grab it. Let me figure out what it is. I mean, I don't like to spend a whole lot of time. Basically, I sell stuff as is, as pictured.
Yeah. I remember you told me about the bins.
Yeah, and that's
the bins were an interesting thing for me because I went there. I had no idea what the whole situation was, but they just wheel out these bins, and I mean, people just like go crazy. I mean, they just push and shove, and I'm like, I felt like at that point, I felt like I really need gloves. I really need a mask. I mean, people were just like, really.
This is for the audience, we're talking about the Goodwill outlet.
Goodwill outlet,
which is
the bins.
Which is basically like, if you're familiar with the Goodwill stores, they're like a thrift store where you can buy stuff for cheap. However, they get so much stuff dumped on them that they don't know what to do with. They basically stick it out in bins at these outlets, and you buy it in bulk. So anything that they can't sell online, anything that's obscure or whatever, it ends up here. And you can find diamonds. You can find all kinds of stuff. I found stuff
Yeah.
I've sold, stuff I sell for $20 on eBay, stuff I sell for $1,000 on eBay, just because nobody, everybody overlooked it.
Didn't you, at some point, you were telling me that you used to buy storage lockers, and
Mhm.
didn't you find like a whole bunch of silver coins and gold?
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what
found I found a big like kind of lockbox just full of silver. It was like the old style U.S. 90% quarters and dimes and the lower too because but yeah I sold half of it, still have half of it,
Nice.
but a silver quarter I think is pretty, or silver dollars like the old style 90% silver dollars are worth a lot of money.
Wow.
A lot more than $1, that's for sure, just at silver weight.
Wow, that's amazing.
But
That's incredible.
But yeah, you can find all kinds of stuff. I mean, storage auctions are good. Storage auctions are kind of like buying a lottery ticket with work attached to it.
Right. Yeah.
So and the odds are that if that thing isn't packed to the gills or doesn't have stuff packed underneath other stuff that a pilferer that works at the storage facility can't get to it, it's probably been gone through to some extent. So, I mean, like my best storage units ever have been ones that are just stacked to the ceiling, and you can't get, and you have to work a couple hours to get everything out to get to boxes that are stacked up against the back,
Right.
and that's where you're like, oh, look, laptop. Oh, look.
There used to be that show, Storage Wars. I used to
Storage
watch
Wars,
that.
yeah.
That was pretty. I always used to think that was all fake. Like they would.
It's
insert
not
certain things.
Yeah, it's not fake. It's just the prices that they call out of what they can get for stuff is just complete bullshit.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you're just I'll load up an 8-foot truck bed from stuff out of a 10-foot storage unit, and I'll probably most of that is just going straight to Goodwill or the dumpster, and there might be a few gems in there that end up netting me a profit on what I paid. Not necessarily the amount of work time, but it's fun. You find antique stuff, you find cool stuff.
It's cool. It's fun doing that kind of stuff. It takes time. That's the only thing.
It's a fun hobby. You're never gonna get rich doing it,
Right.
but if you between that and the Goodwill and just sourcing stuff, and it's something that you can do in your spare time.
Yeah.
You can package stuff up and ship it out in your spare time. You can have the post office come and
Yeah. A lot of my time doing it was just fun. It's just a hobby. It's like you say, it's you're not gonna get rich doing it, but it's kind of cool when someone says, "Hey, I'm gonna buy it," and
Yeah,
make
but I
a
mean,
little
even
bit of money.
yeah, I mean it's paying for my truck right now, and it still pays me enough that it pays for my truck. So
That's nice.
but
Yeah.
for as long as I'm around to keep it going, then I'm just gonna have this big
Right.
pile
Right.
of shit that I need to get rid of.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it kind of fits into the picture for me because it's something that enhances my self-reliance, self-sovereignty. I guess is probably the best term I like to use.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not reliant. Makes you self-reliant. For income, which is that's always nice, right?
Yeah, and it wouldn't replace an income, but it softens the blow.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that's it's good to invest
And more importantly, it's if something happened, that would be less of my Bitcoin I'd have to sell.
right.
Is the important thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't quite own a Bitcoin yet, but.
Are you aiming to be a whole coiner? That's what you call it.
Well, I think you are quite a bit. So. I'm not gonna.
I cannot confirm or
I'm not
deny.
gonna
I
say.
cannot confirm or deny that.
But. So anyway, let's pivot to something else.
Sure.
Real quick, I know we're kind of running out of time, or you need to get on the road before it starts snowing out here.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how bad it's going to snow, but I got a big hill, you know. That's the only worry. Yeah, I was going to talk to you a little bit about, well, Oregon, right? So
Oregon.
So you moved here. You moved here
I came here out of the Air Force.
out of the Air Force.
Yeah, my grandparents moved here. I grew up in SoCal, and I just ended up here. I started to go to college near where my grandparents were here, and it's just been here ever since. You know, my siblings and stuff came here, and you know, and that was since the mid '90s. Quite a while.
And where in Oregon?
Where did I end up initially?
Yeah,
Klamath Falls.
Klamath Falls.
Yeah,
So
I started going to OIT. Best job I could get was bagging groceries. You know, and I was fresh out of the Air Force, the technical field, and all this other stuff. I thought I was too good for bagging groceries, and I'm like, screw this.
Right.
This is all I can do in Klamath Falls and pay my way through college. So
Yeah.
I lasted a couple terms, and then I ended up going north to Portland area.
Yeah. Well, you're looking to probably do some travel in Oregon. Travel around. I mean, the interesting thing about Oregon, the good thing about Oregon is that you have, all kinds of different climates, right? You have the high desert in the east, in the valley. You know, you have a lot of rain and stuff, but it's nice. You have a lot of forests. And you're close to the beach, close to skiing, Mount Hood. So that's the great thing, right? Is you're just a couple hours away.
Yeah.
You know, Southern Oregon, nice weather, warmer. That's a great thing. The downside is, like downtown Portland, some of the politics and stuff like that it's hard for people.
And downtown Portland in the '90s and early 2000s was great.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was
right?
nice. It was a nice place to go. I mean, you had problems, crime like any city.
Right.
It's nothing like it is now.
Yeah. It's significantly different now.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much like that in all the cities. So.
Yeah, I agree.
But the cities, the only thing about downtown Portland is it's not as safe, right? So people are avoiding it because it's just physically not safe. People are a little nervous about going down there.
Yeah, all the good cops quit. So what does that leave you?
Yeah.
With a shortage, and who's left are probably not the cream of the crop.
Yeah, and drugs are legal, so
yeah,
makes it a little more.
You're gonna walk around downtown. You're gonna step on human feces or a needle,
right? Yeah,
or someone's gonna jump out at you and start kicking your car or something like that.
Yeah,
you can't. It's never a dull moment. I mean, anytime you go down there for any length of time, you're going to see something new.
Yeah,
I guess that's
it's kind of bizarre, the whole thing, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
how that works. But that said, I mean, you can be in and out of Portland real quick, and you're right out in the suburbs, and there's some really nice areas, and politics are different outside of the Portland area.
The problem is that. They are different. However, the politics in Salem, where Portland goes, Salem follows.
Yeah.
And more than that, it seems like there's kind of a waterfall. It's like California heads a certain direction, Washington's not far behind, and then Oregon. With everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I don't necessarily have a problem, living here. However, my problem now is I have a toddler who's not even school age yet, and I have no interest in raising him in the state.
Yeah.
For a myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
you know, first and foremost is, you know, parental rights. Um, you know, the state literally thinks they own your child.
Yeah.
Once
That's interesting.
And once you get them into the school system, the public school system, which, by the way, will never happen with my child. He'll never be in a public school.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd let my my child in public education if he was young, which he's
But
not.
it's very nannyish. It's a very nannyish state. You know, they want, you know, there's benefits to living here too. I mean,
There is.
social safety net benefits, whatever. You know, the Oregon health plan is pretty good if you don't have any money.
Yeah.
You know, that's not necessarily a concern for me. But yeah, I see the way the tide is going, and like, if I'm gonna be here at all, I'm gonna be I'm not gonna sink roots anymore here.
You don't think you would want to put down roots in Oregon?
No, I mean, I had roots here and I dug them up.
Right. But I mean, like maybe in a different area, like Eastern Oregon or Southern Oregon.
No, I just the I mean, you at a certain level you can't escape, you know, the politics. You could take a disinterest in politics, but politics will always take an interest in you. Right?
Well, that's a good way to put it.
And when you're talking about things like parental rights, freedom of speech, you know, Second Amendment, everything like that, which is under constant barrage in a state like this, that's just not the, you know, it's not it anymore for me, you know. And I've put in my time here, you know, and I feel like I can see which way the wind is blowing, and
Now that's kind of, you could say that maybe like about the whole country though. I mean, it's, the way the wind's blowing is kind of a mass movement.
yeah, but that's true, but there is best of the worst and worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And, you know, Oregon is a bottom tier state. I'm sorry to say, as beautiful as it is,
It's beautiful, yeah.
it's bottom tier. I mean, you've got probably New York, California, Illinois, but Washington, Oregon.
Yeah, I don't like Washington.
You know, but
Washington's
if for me, if you were to look at the bottom 10 states on a number of issues, Oregon would be right there on multiples.
Yeah. Well,
So-
taxes, it's expensive. Housing's expensive.
For
there's a
what?
lot.
For what? Why is housing so expensive here?
That I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
It seems
But-
artificial to me.
Yeah. But it's expensive. I mean, if you look at like California and Seattle, right? Oregon's kind of in the middle. Oregon is kind of, you know, it's in the trough, right? Like in, you know, when what was it, the housing crisis, what, 2008? You know, everybody lost equity in their houses and stuff. But in reality, it didn't really go down. I mean, a house in San Francisco, you know, was still, you know, million and a half dollars. I mean,
How is anything in San Francisco cost that much now? Like,
I know.
who is spending that?
but it does though, right? So it doesn't really go down. So Oregon has always kind of been in the trough. So it's been cheaper than if you live like up in Seattle or Southern California. Oregon's still a good investment.
Right,
You know,
but I think the thing that keeps prices here high is the fact that people are basically leaking here from north and the south, right?
yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, this place is less shitty, right? I mean, for the longest time, Oregon was less shitty than California. But the problem is that these people move because California's shitty, and they come up north and they're like, where are my social programs? Where are my freebies?
Right.
And they come up, they bring their politics with them,
Yeah.
and then they do the same exact thing that they did to where they came from.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like Ashland in a way. In Ashland, Oregon, Southern Oregon, right on the border.
Oh yeah, been there.
A lot of the Californians have moved up, bought up, just bought up a lot of real estate and businesses. And actually, if you look at like the city government, a lot of the policies and stuff are starting to emulate California. So while it's a great place to be, it's really expensive, and a lot of the policies and stuff that they're implementing there are like similar to what you would see in California.
Well,
So
and
it's really expensive.
these properties too is that people just buy them as an inflation hedge. So a lot of that's what's driving the prices up is inflation.
Yeah.
Right? It's people like I had this pile of cash. I could buy this house. I'm not going to live in. Maybe I'll do an Airbnb, turn it over to management or something like that. But I'm not going to live in it. And that drives up. And you're competing, and you have these people, these wealthy people that aren't even in the community, competing with local people, and it's driving the prices up, and the local people can't afford it.
Right.
And they're having to, downsize, or live in a little tiny shitty apartments, or roommate together.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. A lot of the younger folks these days are doing just that, like teaming up, getting places in downtown where they don't need a car. Multiple people living in one condo. They're not as interested in necessarily, having a mortgage, having a car payment.
For what? For the privilege of working downtown?
I don't know. I mean, I don't get that. I mean, but there's a big trend for that, and to me, that's like, I don't understand that.
More power to you. More power to you.
But I also think that if you, I mean, if you're just like a kid out of college, maybe have some student loans, you're already in debt.
Well, you don't have student loans now because Biden canceled them all.
Some of them. So he only canceled the ones if you've been paying for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not really.
Okay. So if you've been making interest only payments for 10 years, then you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
So he didn't really have.
That's so benevolent of him. I'm sure it has nothing to do with buying voters.
It has nothing to do with buying voters. But the bottom line is this, though. I mean, the fact is, for a young couple, say just gotten married or whatever, to get a mortgage, it's really hard. I mean, if everything is expensive everywhere,
it's damn near impossible.
How do they do it? I mean, and especially if you have, a heavy debt or something from college. If you went to university or whatever, you may have a payment, and so
which by the way, in 90% of cases, is a complete waste of fucking money. We don't need to go into that one. Go to trade school. Trade school. Become an electrician, a plumber. Make $300,000 a year turning wrenches or something.
Right. Yeah.
Not gender studies. Working at Starbucks.
Yeah. Like my son is. He got a degree. He went to the University of Portland. Very expensive school. However, he had a lot of scholarships. He had a lot of it paid for by that, but still owed. Still very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I've got.
But yet he's out in the tech field, and what is he doing? Like, well, he's getting certifications, and like so. Would it have been better just to get certifications?
Things with real value. Yeah, I mean, I've got a master's degree from the University of Oregon.
Yeah.
I
think it's critically important. I think it's really important to have a degree. I think it's great. Okay, but depending on what field you go in, if you're going to be a plumber, I mean, just get an apprenticeship and go do that. Or if you're going to be in the tech field, you working on computers or whatever, just go get certified.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what a company's going to look for, right? if they're going to hire you.
Graduate degree has not done shit for me.
No, they're not going to look for that necessarily in a lot of jobs. They're going to look for, hey, we have a contract, with the federal government, and the federal, they require these certs, and they're going to look at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I might as well have just like lit. I don't remember how much it was, $50,000 or whatever it cost me to get it on fire.
Yeah. It's literally
It was that resume for a line on a resume that nobody cares about. What a waste of fucking money.
Yeah.
Like doctor, lawyer.
Yeah.
Something that you actually need it.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. I'm going to take a bio break. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Quick bio break. So, I can't remember what we were talking about. But
Trying to pizza again.
Yeah, pizza's good. I like that pizza. What were we talking about? Can't remember. Anyway, so I remember a long time ago I was working a lot with a network administrator. We're doing all this stuff. I don't know how we got into stuff about Oregon, like downtown Portland, and how everything's messed up, this, that, this, that. And then somehow we got in the, like, how would we solve, like, the problem of, all the social welfare programs and things like that, helping people, like welfare, food stamps, all those kind of things that are needed, for people down on their luck, lost their job, what have you. And I mean, we're really like, what would we do if, like, we were in charge? And we kind of came up with the solution.
Euthanasia?
No, we
It's just a joke. Just a joke, people.
That's for
Just a
something
joke.
different.
Just a joke, people.
Yeah. So here's how we thought about it. So great. So let's say you're on welfare, food stamps, social programs. That's fine. What we would do is we would create these work camps. And these work camps,
I think
hold on, these work camps would be a place where you would show up, where you would do some kind of work. You'd be making widgets, whatever.
Could you concentrate there at these camps?
No.
Would there be intense concentration?
No, there would not. You just let's just say you're making widgets, whatever. But the thing is,
they had those in China. They're making your lithium batteries there.
Sure, but you're basically showing up to work. You're doing something, and as long as you show up, don't call in sick excessively. Don't show up on drugs or drinking or whatever. You'll continue to get your benefits. Okay, but the minute you stop doing that, then you don't get them no more, right? So you're going. So in fact, if you're showing up and you're working and you're making these widgets, and let's say you make them really good, you might get picked up with some other company or organization. In other words, you're building your resume in a way, working in these government camps.
Yeah,
right?
that's like a value for value model, right?
Right, and so basically, if you can, I mean, certainly there's probably circumstances where people are disabled or have other mitigating circumstances where they can't do that kind of stuff. But for the majority of the people, hey, you know what? You can show up. Like say you're down on your luck, and you would get your benefits, say, for a year. Okay, but after a year, it's like, okay, look, we're gonna put you to work in these camps. Okay. And so that was kind of how we thought would help people get out of that rut in a way, without losing benefits, but also gaining self-esteem and like, in other words, working is good, right? You feel good when you work and do a job or accomplish something or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, you give them just enough for sustenance, but not enough for satisfaction.
Right. And so I mean, the thing that we came up with, we thought was a pretty good idea, and I was explaining this to my son, my son Phoenix, and I explained the whole thing. And it was a lot more detailed than I'm explaining here. I'm just kind of summarizing. And he's like, "Yeah, it sounds okay, except for the term camps, because that sounds too much like Nazi Germany, and so that if you could take that verbiage out of it, then great. But
Yeah, you don't even have to go to you can go to modern day China and
right, sweat camps
and
make it our iPhone.
we look at the Uyghur Muslim camps.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at like China making, doing all our iPhone stuff and different products and stuff, it's the same kind of thing.
Or little 5-year-olds digging up cobalt in the Congo.
Yeah, that's really sad. There's I've watched some shows on that on YouTube and different things, and it's.
If you enjoy your electronic gadgets, because some poor little 5-year-old kid is
getting out cancer as he digs out your minerals,
digging up little rocks out of the ground.
Yeah, it's very bad. But so anyway, I mean, that was a funny story that I don't know if it resonated. But anyway, what were we talking about? I was talking about.
Well, yeah, I was talking about camps where you have to concentrate.
Yeah,
so I kind of got where you're going with that.
I mean, at a like in Oregon, they're legalized the drugs downtown, so it's legal, to do drugs downtown. You can be doing fentanyl.
Oh yeah, I know.
We see it every day, and
I've seen it.
and that makes it so people don't want to go downtown and eat dinner at a restaurant or go see a show or different things. And I don't know why that's so complicated. I mean, if you just rein that in and provided the police with the backed up the police and supported them in doing their job, that would all go away. I mean, I don't understand the idea. I mean, at one point, I think the city council was looking at like providing needles and this and that, and tinfoil and all kinds of stuff to do the fentanyl on. And to me, I don't understand that. I understand if you legalize it and you maybe have an opportunity to maybe interface with folks and get them help, but I don't see that.
It's leftist governments, I don't know, to some extent, are just want to be enablers. They want to enable everything, and if you're on drugs, let's enable you to do it. Let's not prevent you from doing it or get you treatment or get you help. Let's just enable. Let's make sure that you're shooting up your heroin or your whatever you're snorting, your fentanyl laced cocaine or whatever. Let's make sure that's in a safe environment, and we give you clean utensils for that.
Well,
right?
And here's the thing that I don't understand. So I mean, if that's the logic, and you want to legalize it, then why didn't you provide it? Why isn't it legally for sale? In other words, why isn't it in Plaid Pantry? So I mean, because I think half the problem is, if you legalize it and provide it, say freely, then you remove the criminal element, right? You remove the gangs and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like we did it halfway. It's just like, well, it's legal, but you're gonna see all the guys on bikes riding around that are the drug dealers selling it.
No, it's complicated.
It's complicated.
There are no easy solutions to so many things. There's no easy solutions to many of the issues, but it seems like if you're a certain political persuasion, like you just want to go as hard left as you can on every issue, right? All drugs are legal. Kill babies up until they're about to enter the birth canal. Spade and neuter your children, whatever.
Yeah, that's where.
Let's go as far off the deep end on every issue as we can, rather than and enable rather than like, okay, well, let's identify that there's a problem here that might need to be addressed, right? There might be a problem with drugs, or there might be a problem with, say, premarital sex, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, or their kid just may have issues that don't involve needing to cut their genitals off or stick them on drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I think that there's no like no boundaries. Like there used to be like right and wrong, right? You know, there used to be like prayer in school. There used to be all these things when I was growing up, and it's like the wild wild west. Like it's like everything goes, and if you disagree with that, then you get labeled, or you know.
No, it's getting worse and worse. If you disagree with it, you are
Yeah.
beginning to get criminalized.
Yeah, and that's, you know, to me, like when you criminalize that, that's crazy, and you see that. I mean, I don't know how much that's going on, but you see examples of that happening all the time. Just even like schools, you know, the way schools are approaching like transgender and all that thing, where, you know, I can understand where they're trying to look out for children in a way that may have some kind of biological just predisposition or whatever. You know what I mean? I get that, but it's not where like, hey, we're going to exclude the parent and we're going to be able to make decisions, and if you fight us, we're going to come after you.
It's such a tiny percentage though that, or now it's just chic, you know, to be trans, right? And it's now cool. You know,
well,
and
you wonder about that, right?
And you have people that legitimately are, but then they're pushing it so much in the popular culture that you have these people that are just you know, easy to influence, and they're just, you know, they're deciding like they are too because it's cool, and they're being constantly told how cool it is and how normal it is, and you know, and then they get trapped into making just a stupid medical decision, and they end up regretting it.
Well, I think that if you look at like the news, you look at social media, you look at like the way social media and the news like targets everyone's ego, everyone's just kind of shallow. It's just a shallow type of thing that
like
I see.
Snapchat,
look at
Instagram,
TikTok and things like that. I mean, I'm still on Facebook, but like I removed I never did TikTok. I never did really Twitter or X.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
see all those things as like very negative.
Yeah, I used to Facebook.
Society right now.
I used to Facebook a lot, especially when I travel and stuff like that. Yeah. And it used to be like, okay, keep everybody posted on what's going on with the Joshman. But at a certain point, it crossed a line to where like look at me and how much better I am than you.
Well,
right? Look at how lucky I am. Let me portray my life always in the best possible light.
And that's what people see, right? And so it's a weird perception thing, but it's like we're a disconnection of our souls. I mean, like we're just for the ego. We are we're like if you look at like Facebook and different things, you see a lot of people like they're self-centered, they're materialistic, they're pleasure seeking, they don't have a perception or searching for anything higher, anything bigger.
Yeah, they have a greater purpose.
It's like the herd mentality, collective mindset. It keeps you thinking small, and that's what
Well, if
You know, that's what kind of interested me towards you, because you had a lot of these different, different tentacles that you were doing, different things, not just a job, and I think that's great. And I think a lot of people get stuck. And I mean, look if you just watch like CNN or Fox and just listen to that mantra. I mean, you would just be like hypnotized. I mean, it's like that's why I'm like so glad like people like Joe Rogan like start. I mean that podcast. I mean, why is that thing so popular? Other than the fact, like it just rings true to humans.
He's just a normal. He's
just a normal dude.
He's
talking
a normal
some
dude.
Truth, right?
Yeah, and he learns in public.
I
Right?
mean,
he's not afraid to learn in public. He's not afraid to sit there and look ignorant or.
But what does
vulnerable
it
or
tell
whatever.
you that how thirsty everybody was just for that? I mean, not to hear these 30-minute little sound bites of what they want you to know, but like
more
real
3
discussion.
minute sound bites, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Like 30 minutes is rare.
I mean, actually, like real in-depth, discussions about certain topics, and interesting, like actually interesting conversations with people in different aspects and different perspectives.
So, yeah, well,
How thirsty were? I mean, it was obvious. I mean, look how well he's done it. It's the thirst of society.
yeah. I mean, why am I going to learn from CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or whatever? Why am I going to learn about what's going on with X in Y country when I could just go and follow somebody in that country without a agenda?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the interesting thing when Trump got elected, right? What kind of was funny to me was he just used social media. I mean, he didn't do press conferences. He didn't do these. He just said, "Oh, I got Twitter. Boom!" I just like immediate connection to his audience,
Yeah.
and I found that really interesting. But it's just you can see that everybody was really lacking that and thirsty for that kind of information. Just same thing with
Well, it's just just when you're constantly being fed a narrative,
yeah.
and you know that narrative is bullshit, right? And
Yeah.
somebody comes along,
Keep talking. I'm gonna grab my coat.
with a fresh perspective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking to myself. Somebody comes along with a fresh perspective, the bull in the china shop, and you're like, you know what? I am so sick and tired of being gaslit all the time. I'm so sick and tired of being bullshitted all the time, being manipulated. I want to run through this wheat field tossing matches. Awkward silence. Insert awkward silence. Maybe we should cut this part out. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Running through a wheat field, tossing matches. Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
I had to step away for a second.
No worries. Your circulation gets bad as you get older. I understand. But yeah. So I mean, Trump is such a complicated subject.
It is.
And you know what the bad part about Trump is? I don't even like the guy. But
I don't even. Yeah, I mean, you only know what you see.
I find myself having to defend him all the time.
Me too.
And I don't like it.
I know.
I hated fucking Apprentice. I couldn't.
Yeah.
That's like it
That
was
was
like
a stupid show.
Yeah, it was like nails
It was
on a chalkboard.
Yeah, it was a dumb show. No, I agree.
And you know what? That guy, up until 2016 or whatever, he was a card-carrying Democrat. Like
Yeah.
he's essentially a Democrat that hijacked the Republican Party.
Yeah.
That's what he is. But he's like an old politically. He's like an old school, you know, Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, but I think his appeal, is still there, and that is, just the same old, just as a given.
It's like
Biden,
Biden has always been human garbage.
He,
Since the
he made all
70s.
these promises. In fact, I mean, I've been a lifelong Democrat, to be honest with you, and I've always voted that way. But I've lost that. When
You've lost
Biden got in,
that love and
I
feeling.
really have. I mean, Biden. There's all these promises, that they all make, and they all do it, and I just haven't really seen that, right? I haven't seen anyone step up and really do a lot for the middle class, which is where I'm at. I'm not above the middle class, and if I was, maybe I'd be thinking different. But I'm in the middle class, and I really have been unimpressed with, the cost of medicine, the cost of the taxes. I mean, I just don't understand why the middle class is paying all the taxes, or the majority of the taxes. I don't get that. There's so many things like that, and I've seen it just, not with this Biden, just forever.
They're gutting the middle class, man. They're gutting it. They are purposely trying to eliminate it. They are purposely trying to create a dependent society.
Yeah.
Right. They want to drive. They want to drive everybody out of their houses, make them all unaffordable.
Yeah.
They want investors in BlackRock to buy them all up and you to rent them.
Yeah.
As it was stated on the World Economic Forum website, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Yeah.
And you.
Well, I mean, if someone come and offered me $1 million for my house, I mean, it'd be hard not to take it. I mean, that's just the truth. But I mean, that was the fear, like in Maui, right? In Lahaina, that hey, all the rich people are going to come in and just offer them an offer they couldn't refuse, and I think that's been prevented. I mean, hopefully, but hey,
I'm not following that.
But if you offer those people that lost their homes a whole bunch of money and a better life, then great if they agree to it. But I don't like the fact that that people were already looking to try to do that. I thought that was pretty evil. But
yeah, I mean, Hawaii is.
I've been to Lahaina a few times, and I like
it's a nice place to visit, but it's down there on the bottom, in the bottom 10 as far as politically places to live.
Well, to live, yeah. I'm talking
just a vacation.
Yeah.
Like you could go anywhere. I've gone all around the world. You could go anywhere as an expat and have fun, be comfortable, be happy. I've been to Myanmar. I've been to Cambodia, Laos. Communist countries. Dictatorship countries, whatever. And if you're there as a tourist, it's fine. If you're there as an expat, it's fine. The minute you ingrain yourself into society and you become subject, different story.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I think it's the same way with state politics.
Same
way with state politics.
Oh yeah.
I owned a house in Oregon. I sold it. I seriously thought about keeping it and renting it out.
Yeah.
Right? I seriously thought about it. And thank God I didn't, because I sold it right before the peak of the COVID shit. And I saw how they were stripping rights away from property owners.
Yeah.
It would have been the only property I owned and I was renting it out, and I'd probably be renting an apartment somewhere. And they would have said, "Oh, you dirty, rich landlord.
Yeah.
Let this tenant stay in here without paying you anything for the next year."
Yeah.
Right? They did that. They did that. And now I'm renting some property now to keep my mobile home on it, my trailer, my travel trailer. and it's attached to a house the guy's renting out. The guy can't get rid of the tenants. He can't get rid of them.
Yeah. You have to have a lawyer. It takes about a year.
He can't do. They're you know, he keeps renegotiating. They keep saying, can I have more time? And then, you know, what's that, how much this, and you know, he's subsidizing this, and you know, the guy had their electricity turned off, and now he's paying for that. Like,
Yeah.
hell no.
If you own it, you have no rights. That's what ends
Hell
up
no.
happening.
If I can't be in a jurisdiction where I'm giving you 30 days, and damn it, if you're not gone in 30 days, the sheriff's coming
Right.
to drag your ass out and throw your
Yeah.
shit on the.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have rights. You have a right to 30 days notice before
Right.
you need to get the fuck out of my property.
Right.
But that's not. It's not your property. This
Yeah.
is not your property. You know. These are not your children. It's,
Right.
it's you're
Yeah.
you're owned, and they think they own you.
Yeah.
They don't think they represent you. They literally think they own you.
I
You're
agree.
you're a subject.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're all, and the only thing that frees you from that is the ability to fight.
Yeah.
The only thing that gives you ability to fight is wealth,
Yeah. That's true.
right?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Look at the difference. Like if you have to go to court and you
Sure.
have money and you can buy a good lawyer,
sure.
versus you have to go to court and you have no money.
Think about the IRS,
Yeah.
right? You know, why do they not go after rich people? Why did they just hire 87,000
Yeah. It
agents
costs a lot.
to go after middle class people?
Yeah.
Right? Because they're not going to fight. They're going to send you a collection letter, and they're
Yeah.
going to weigh the options. Do I pay this $2,000 collection letter, or do
Yeah.
I take their ass to court?
Right.
No, the rich person's going to be like, "See you in court.
Yeah.
I don't owe you shit. See you in
Right.
court."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean that's one of my biggest gripes, you know, with Biden or any Democrat, any presidents, but you know, they talk about helping out the middle class, and you know, if you're going to help out the middle class, the bottom line is taxes.
Helping out
Quit taxing us to death.
Helping out the middle class is a meme.
It-
Right.
It's not ever going to happen as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, like to me, who impresses me is RFK. You know,
Well, let's-
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I mean, ideally, I'd love to see him get in there. I mean, I don't think he will. But,
I'll take him over several, even though
I would take
disagree.
him over anybody, and then if
He's-
not him, then Trump.
He's authentic. I would take, even though I disagree with a bunch of his politics. Trust me, he's an authentic human being.
I mean,
And
he's a lawyer.
he's trying-
That's fought for a lot of people.
and he's trying to do the right thing. However,
Yeah.
he's got things on his bucket list that are just.
What don't you like about it?
What's that?
What don't you like?
Oh, he's a big reparations guy. Do you know that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he's a big, you know, he's like a big climate change guy, of course.
Oh, no, I didn't know
But yeah, you know, his take on medical freedom and stuff like that. Sure, yeah. I mean, but there's the thing is like, but he's a reasonable guy, and then we can agree, where we can agree, we could join together, and we.
that. Look how that dominates everybody's consciousness that watches the news or social media. It's like lunacy, right? I mean, you have these two sides that are saying, "Hey, this is the way it needs to be done."
It seems like it, but
It's
both
strange.
sides benefit. You know, one side's benefit by complaining but tacitly going along with it, and one side benefits by, you know, by shifting the political climate, right? These people, majority of these people can't vote, but they're still censused, and if they're covered by the census, they're still gaining congressmen. I mean, you can't tell me that the 10 million illegal immigrants that have come in, which is over the population of LA, isn't going to create or shift Congress seats. Of course it is, because when the census comes to your door and they say how many people are living here, they don't give a rat's ass where you're from, where you were born, if you're a citizen or not. They are counting heads.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So yeah, you can claim that those people can't vote, no, but their presence creates Congress people, and their children dependent. Their parents are dependents.
Yeah.
Their children are highly likely to be. I think I read somewhere that a third generation immigrant is usually where they start to break out, like as far as being successful and stuff like that. So like the children of immigrants, usually it's really rough for the immigrant that doesn't speak the language, and their children are a little better off, and their children's children.
Right. So what is your whole take on that? I mean, like, when Trump was there, the thing I like about him, to be honest, is that my perspective is, or where I come from is like executing, getting stuff done. I mean, and like the farther you go up the chain, the less you get done. But Trump was like, oh, okay, well, Congress is going to help me out. I'll just make an executive order and we'll just build a wall. And that's what he done. And Biden could do the same thing. Biden could say, oh, well, Congress is not helping me out, which they're not. So guess what? I will make an executive order and do this. But what he does is say, oh, I can't do anything because the Republicans aren't funding me.
No. Biden's first move. See, there's no continuity in government between. You used to have continuity in government, right? Like one president would run with the baton, the next president would pick it up and keep running, right?
Right.
But in this particular case, politics have become so bad that now you don't pick up the baton and run with it. You burn. You burn the baton, you destroy it, and you create a whole another one. When the first day Biden took office, he had to erase, good or bad, every single policy Trump enacted, good or bad.
Well, he didn't remove all the tax things that Trump did. That's what really made me mad. So in other words,
a lot of stuff was gonna.
We used to write off part of our house and gas and different things like that for my wife's business, and that got all removed under Trump. And Biden didn't reverse that.
Do you want to talk about border wall? How many sections of border wall that just weren't put up, that were just laying there waiting to be put up, that was just auctioned off for scrap when Biden took office? Why did he have to do that? That was symbolic.
Yeah.
That was like, we're going to do the exact opposite.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, why do you think they want just the floodgates open? Why do they want all these people? Okay, I could see maybe votes. I could see maybe cheap labor. I could think of a lot of reasons why if they can. In other words, if I'm living in some Central American country and I want a better life for my family, so I'm going to America where it might be more economically better for me. Hey, I'm all for it. I mean, I get it, right? I'd be doing the same thing. However, what I don't understand is, if I'm in charge, I'm going down to that Central American country, and I'm going to make it so good that people wouldn't want to come up here. In other words, why aren't we going and helping out these countries to improve their livelihood?
We could and we're not, and we see examples of these type of countries like El Salvador that clean their shit up, and guess what? You're not seeing seeing many El Salvadorians coming up through the border. Why? Yeah. Because their country. Because Bukele cleaned that place up.
Right.
That's why.
And that's the answer to me. I mean, it's like if you take care of your people in your own country, right? And why aren't we helping?
You want to know my opinion about what it's about? It's about creating the new society.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, new world order. Yeah. It's about creating a feudal class.
This is exactly what I think. What I think is that when you see all of these folks from all these countries immigrating here to get a better life.
They are ballast. They are ballast to drag down the middle
Right.
class.
Yeah. Exactly. What I see is that why they're letting all these folks in is instead of going down to these countries and improving and helping them generate their own countries in a better making their situation in each country better economically and politically, all the different things. Instead, what I see, the reason why they're not doing that is they want to make our country, the United States, more like their countries.
Yeah,
so
how do
instead
you
of
do that?
improving the United States,
Yeah, and how do you do that? You
just do a huge melting pot with the entire world, and then
Sure.
make us the lowest.
and all those resources you would that would go towards infrastructure,
Yeah,
bolstering the middle class,
absolutely.
whatever. You're taking those and you're giving them to non-citizens.
Yeah, it's very obvious that like there is a certain segment of society, and I mean there's different labels, different things that people would say who those people are, but there's definitely seems to be some agenda for world government, world economy.
Right.
World. I mean, in other words, if you're the ruling class, if you're all the billionaires, you're worldwide, right?
So-
you're not just
and
in
serves-
America. You're
See,
worldwide.
and we have the benefit of having a Bill of Rights and a
Yeah.
republic and what have you, but
I don't think they want that spread.
But right, but the thing is if you're on the dole, like if you're being taken care of constantly by the government,
Right.
and they're giving you money, they're giving you housing, they're giving you all your
Right.
all
They're
your needs.
basically like encapsulating your soul.
Yeah. What
they're making you reliant upon them.
Right. Are you gonna be bothered when they say, well, hey, we're doing this for you, but you can't talk poorly about the administration, right? You can't talk negatively about the government if we're gonna, it's about manipulation and control, right?
Yeah, I believe you're right.
In the middle class, you have to eliminate them.
Now, why do you think that is? No, look, I mean, the whole idea of world government, world religion, world currency. What is the idea behind that? You think like you look at like things like Ukraine and what's going on in Gaza and it's interesting because it's like we're still killing each other. Like
Well,
we're not very
it's
sophisticated.
I think I don't think it's like a worldwide conspiracy. I think it's a standalone complex. I think you have these individuals that have more money than God, and they think they're God.
Right, exactly.
Like Bill Gates thinks he's God, and he acts in
Yeah.
a certain way,
Yeah.
and he acts in a certain way that's compatible with George Soros, who also thinks he's God.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
what
they-
I
and they
don't
kind of-
understand about like those folks like Bill Gates and like Bill Gates is like a huge landowner, right? He owns land in every single state, and
Yeah,
big agricultural owner.
Yeah, he's buying the farmland.
taking up all the farm.
Not
I
to
mean,
feed anybody, but to control the farmland.
Yeah, well, I don't get it. It's like, I don't know how old he is, but I mean, he's a billionaire, so like, why isn't he just like on constant vacation? Why isn't he snorkeling in the Caribbean? Why does he care about farmland?
Because he thinks he's a god.
That's the thing that is bizarre to me.
He wants to engineer. He is an engineer at heart.
Yeah.
He wants
Well,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a coder.
Well,
I mean, him and
Bill
Paul Allen hacked.
Walzak and yeah.
But he wants to engineer society, and this is his big project, and he's a bored
I mean, that's a
billionaire.
that's a messed up ego to me.
But here's the scary part is he's the number one donor to the WHO,
yeah.
and they're trying on the premise of the pandemic preparedness to just shovel power over to WHO.
Yeah.
To
I heard that.
circumvent the power of sovereign states.
Yeah.
you want to talk about Bill Gates isn't involved in that conversation?
Yeah.
He's not influencing those policies, those
Right.
policies of global control,
Right.
which the WHO, they've even incorporated climate change
Yeah.
into world health.
Climate change is a whole.
That's a whole different ball of wax.
That's a whole different ball of
But
wax.
they are trying. They are trying now. You know, this didn't work. This didn't work. Okay, we're going to qualify everything as a world health issue. Give these emergency rights over to WHO.
Yeah, I see that happen.
That override. Yeah, I remember before it was the the disaster, and with the U.S. Everyone was afraid of FEMA camps, and do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's a similar kind of thing. Like I'm not even sure like the whole emergency FEMA camp plan and the martial law thing isn't in a file folder somewhere waiting to be utilized. But this is that on a global scale.
Yeah.
This is making the world a giant FEMA camp with bureaucrats
That's good.
controlling it.
Yeah.
Unelected, saying you can't leave your house, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You must take this medicine.
Well, what's interesting is COVID, right, really brought a lot of that out, right? I mean, you're seeing so many different perspectives based on what happened during COVID, right? I mean, I'll admit, I was not informed. I was drinking the Kool-Aid, man. I mean, I had no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
like,
I was
like I'm trusting, like, and that's the issue. Like,
I was
people are
disinfecting my
trusting
groceries when I get back from the grocery store and
trusting my government, and and then with all the different opinions and all the different things coming in, I was like this is really going to cause a lot of anxiety and depression. I mean, people are not knowing who to trust and who to believe, and what there's just all these differing opinions. That is not healthy. I mean, that is really going to hurt the world, but also make it easy to be manipulated and controlled, because I mean, people were scared. I mean, I can remember people were actually like, "Hey, I want to, when's the vaccine coming?" I'm, they were scared. They were freaking out. So,
I was kind of the same way. I was kind of the same way with the vaccine. Okay, until I saw the clip of Stephen Colbert dancing with the people dressed up as syringes, singing a song, and I'm like, this is so far over the top.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you should look that up. It's like anyway. You talk, and just my company offering a lottery, and just as hard as that was pushed.
Yeah.
Like if they would have just casually said, "Oh, we got this shot here. If you want to take it, it'd probably help. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a flu shot. Whatever. You can just go down and get it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I probably would have been okay. Yeah, okay.
People were washing their
They
horses.
pushed it so hard. They pushed it too hard.
Yeah. Why though? Why do you think
and
that
they
is?
They pushed it so hard that
you remember how it became political with Trump and Biden?
And
do you remember how like Biden was blaming Trump and Trump? It all became political.
And all the scaremongering and
I mean, people died, right? A lot of people died getting treatment, being put on ventilators. I mean, there was a lot of different,
and a lot of potential
complexity.
treatments were suppressed because they said this is the way we're going. This is our pre-approved.
Yeah. This is odd.
Let's stick you on
an odd time.
Let's stick you on a ventilator and.
I mean, I think
remdesivir or whatever it's called.
I think what people need to know, I mean, is that the government is human, right? I mean, they're just humans doing the hopefully the best that they can.
And guess
right?
what? And here's the thing too. Okay, this is me being honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I have been all around the world. I have gotten every freaking vaccination required to go to any country you can think of.
I know, and you've gotten it like a couple times.
A couple times. I've had.
And I've never had it.
I've lost my yellow fever card, and I've had to get yellow fever quite a few times.
Right.
But you could not stick a fucking needle in my arm for anything now.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right. Because
I'm
you've had
sorry.
every vaccine in the world, and you've.
I'm
and I
sorry.
remember you've had COVID a few times.
No, just once. Just the once.
No, I thought you. Oh, maybe it was somebody.
No,
else.
just the once.
Just the
I've
once.
only ever had it
Okay.
once, and it was shitty. Trust
Yeah.
me.
No. I.
But no. And here's the
I know.
thing. Here's the thing. And my son was born, and you got the childhood ones. You're
Yeah.
not sticking a fucking another needle in his arm either.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I'm sorry, but he's not
Yeah.
going to a public school, so guess what? There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. The fact that it became political, the science of
Because
it.
I
and
can't
it-
trust.
Yeah, the trust.
I
It's a
can't trust.
factor.
I can't trust my own fucking. I gotta. I have to vet doctors now.
Yeah.
Before, I would just.
Yeah.
The doctor I had would just harass me about the COVID shot.
Yeah.
Hey,
No.
did you get it yet? Did you get it yet? Hey,
Yeah.
did you get it yet?
Yeah.
And now
Well, it's
I
money.
pass that guy. I can't look him in the face.
But do you know how
He
much?
can't look me in the face
Do you-
because he knows he was feeding me a line of bullshit.
Do you know how much money the Pfizer and Moderna and all these companies made?
Billions and billions.
Billions.
Yeah.
Billions and billions and billions. And here's my thing, like they always said about that kind of thing. Like I have a couple of opinions about that, but things like medical, like to be honest with you, I was so naive. I thought like the vaccines and everything was like free. I didn't think these companies were
Oh no, it was
trying to make money. I thought they were trying to help out people, like
Oh no,
prevent.
they were getting
Yeah.
they were getting their
I-
they were getting printed money.
Yeah, I did not know they were
Yeah.
getting pretty much. I thought they were getting
Yeah.
money that was in direct
You-
support of whatever they were doing to support their operations, but I didn't know it was like a profit thing, right?
Yeah, you
So I was surprised. I was naive.
you paid for your vaccine with the last 3 cartons of eggs you bought.
Yeah.
Basically.
It surprised me when I don't know what I watched, but and they told me how much money they made. I'm like, okay, if you're talking about making money off of something like that's where the trust goes out the window.
They had this technology sitting there on the shelf for the longest time.
Keep talking. I gotta piss.
And they were just looking for the opportunity to use it, and then they found it.
Keep talking. You can do it.
And now I'm alone again. Yeah, so yeah, doctors out there, I let me just say that I don't trust you, and I don't feel that you earn my trust. Maybe I'll make that love connection later where I'll actually trust you, but for now, not so much. Sorry. Insert here. Pause. Edit. Okay, you're gonna have to edit out the toilet flushing.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'll
so
edit that out.
and the long period of silence because I ran out of shit to say.
You
I was,
ran out of-
I was addressing doctors and how I don't trust them, and I don't know. It's just
Sure.
rambling.
I'll edit it.
Um,
Anyway, yeah, I could have paused it. That's fine. It's all good.
it's
all
it's
good.
technology. You'll get there. Anyway, I'm sure we've managed to piss off half our potential audience by now.
Possibly. But no, I mean,
I don't think-
the bottom line is that's a true thing. I can remember
I think
so many folks, like, including myself, that was really scared and really thinking that, I mean, these people know what they're talking about. These people know what they're doing. And, when I think about, like, looking at what the government does, and they do incredible things with regard to like disaster recovery. I mean, there's a ton of people that are just volunteer, or just bending over backwards to help people out in disasters and different things like that, right? I mean, I've seen that. There's also a lot of corruption and that kind of shit too. But in general, there are just massive amounts of compassion and things like that, and national disasters like Katrina and things like that. But I would say it's important for people to know that do not rely on the government. They're not coming to help you. You know what? I mean, if you have a house and you live on a hill, I mean, make sure you have, flood insurance or earthquake insurance, or, it's important that you make preparations to plan for Murphy,
Well, even then, I mean, you have
the government is limited, right? They can only do so much, and they certainly do a lot to help people out. But ultimately, in disaster situations, including like an epidemic or whatever,
well,
you're going to have to cover yourself.
Yeah, you are
Ultimately.
getting into a completely different world, and that's pessimism about the future.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't know. Turn on the news, see what's going on. What's going on in the world right now?
Well, if you're watching what news? What kind of news?
Well,
I don't get my news.
Twitter.
I don't get my news from CNN.
Yeah,
or Fox.
neither do I.
I watch YouTube, and I look at Tucker, and I look at Joe Rogan.
Neither do I. Which is, I think if I only watched CNN, I would probably be less scared.
What do you mean?
They're not trying to make me more scared on CNN, right? They would have me believe that. They would have me believe that, Ukraine is winning the war against Russia, which I don't necessarily believe, right? They would have me.
Oh boy, that's a whole nother.
They would have me believe all manner of things, that we're not depleting our military, that we're not able to recruit anybody, that we're on the verge of World War III, that we're. Our every step in Eastern Europe gets us closer to nuclear war.
I don't buy that. I mean, the way I look at it is that.
Did you read about that memo, the memo that came out that was like, I don't know, 10 years ago, about the documented thresholds that Russia had to using nukes, and it's like much lower than people thought. Like they had a number of like, if you take out this much of our warships, or if you do this destroy this many bases or whatever, this is like our threshold.
To me, I mean, I don't profess to know anything, but in my opinion, I mean, just technology, just the tech that we have, the advantage there. I mean, look at the space shuttle, right?
We're depleting all of our resources.
Nobody had anything close to that kind of technology, right? The Russians never had really anything close to that. I mean, we are the thing that keeps America ahead of everybody and okay is the technology, right? And China's stealing it, and Russia's probably stealing it. But the bottom line is we have that advantage.
That's survivorship bias, though. I mean, that's the because things have been this way, they will always be this way, and there are just so many dimensions right now that we're losing out on. Primarily, nobody trusts the dollar anymore. All these sovereign nations are trying to get off the dollar.
But the dollar,
the dollar hegemony is going away. Yeah, because we spooked them because we froze all Russia's assets.
Well, no, because we use the dollar to smack people over the head and make it unfair. So people are tired of that, so they're going around it.
Yeah, we export our inflation for sure. Like
So-
inflation, you think inflation affects us poorly. Think about somebody that's got, think about somebody in Djibouti
Yep.
that's got their franc, pegged to the dollar at a certain rate. Every time we inflate it, the value of our dollar goes down. The value of their currency goes down even more.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me is that like I don't understand. Like if you look at like the amount of money we're spending over there, right? In Ukraine. I mean, I could think of a dozen different ways that money could be spent here, helping out.
Yeah, we sent a Patriot missile battery out there that cost $1 billion, and it was destroyed by like a $200 drone.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, people think we're spending. I don't know how many billions we spent over there. Hundreds and hundreds of billions. But when it comes to the restoration of it, it's going to be in Detroit. So, I mean, I'm confused. I mean, I'm not confused. I understand.
No,
I mean, people are making tons of money. I mean, it's a profit.
Yeah, it's about owning stock in Halliburton, and it's about giving Halliburton a contract to rebuild something that's been completely destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of money being made in nation building.
You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that patching potholes in downtown wherever.
It doesn't compare. I get it.
No, we're just So, I mean, back to the pessimism thing. Everything goes in seasons. Okay. If you've read the fourth turning,
I haven't read that.
should it's so it basically tracks everything in terms of seasons. So now we're in a fourth turning, which will culminate in this climactic event, which is usually a war, a major war, which our fourth turning is supposed to end early 2030s, so we're right in the middle of it, right? There's going to be some climactic event that kind of resets everything, the global balance. The last time it was World War II, right?
Right.
Which that would reset the global balance. We weren't alive, but America wasn't the top dog prior to World War II. We didn't have the world reserve currency prior to that. It was the pound.
Yeah.
And if you want to go back from that 80 years prior to that, the turning before that was the Civil War.
So China will probably be the new, and is probably the new world power, right?
Yeah. So we don't know what form that climax kind of event's going to take, but I can tell you, we've got military-aged Chinese flooding over the border right now.
Right.
You have camps in Central America, South America, dedicated to facilitating Chinese moving northwards. You've got construction projects to make it easier to cross that. What is that gap called between North and South America? The Darien Gap.
Yeah.
They've got construction projects, bridge projects,
Yeah.
clearing projects.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all. I mean, I think that they're more long-term planning.
You have
short-term.
Chinese. Oh yeah. Chinese are huge, low time preference, patient people. I will give them that.
Yeah. They look at the long term.
That same spirit is why I buy and hold Bitcoin and gold and land and stuff like that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but I'll give them that. But you've got communist Chinese police stations in major cities in the US.
Yeah.
If you're a Chinese company, no matter where you are in the world, you have an office or a representative of the Chinese Communist Party at your company.
Yeah.
You have sworn allegiance to the Communist Party to support them. So you have all kinds of different kinds of cells in,
Right.
at these companies and these various manufacturers and police stations and just free floating cells now.
What I wonder, what I really wonder is that you have the sovereign nations, right? Okay, China, America, Germany, whatever. Is that gonna hold? I mean, to me, I see Trump as someone that's saying, "Hey, I'm for America. I'm for the United States. I'm going to keep us sovereign." I see everybody else saying, "Look, we're going to a world government, a world religion, a world currency, and that's where we're going." And Trump's saying, "No."
He's the monkey wrench in the globalist gears,
right?
And they are trying everything desperately within their power to stop him.
It's like obviously Trump. Look, I mean, if you look at the polls and stuff like that, I mean, why is Nikki Haley staying? Like, I mean, he's obviously she's like waiting for him to.
She's a vulture circling, and she's making the assumption that when Trump gets taken off the ballot, if he gets assassinated or whatever else they plan for his future, she's going to be waiting. She's waiting in the wings, circling like a fucking vulture.
Why would she? Why would she stay
movie.
On? Why would she not?
Doing the right thing would be bowing out.
Yeah. Why hasn't she bowed out yet?
Because she's a plant. She's a plant. She's a uniparty neocon who only misaligns with Democrats on the benign social issues.
But obviously she's must realize that she's not going to win.
Well, right? even if Trump gets taken out, so it doesn't automatically mean that she's going to be the chosen one.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what it seems like she's doing. Like, I'm going to stay in just in case they whack Trump, so that I'll be the Republican ultimate.
Who knows? Maybe she knows something we don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe
I don't know. It's pure speculation.
On those campaign shit. But yeah, I mean, I think that. I think that, I mean, ultimately, there is definitely an agenda, and my question is that will if China's going to be the new world power, okay, or is it going to be not China? Is it going to be a world government ruled by the world billionaires, which there's billionaires in China, there's billionaires in Germany, there's billionaires in the United States. I mean, all these people together, right? They're probably going like, look, we run the world, so let's run the world.
One more thing on China.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just put it this way. There are thousands of operatives here in the U.S. waiting for a green light. Okay. This is how Chinese operates. They are very smart and they are ruthless, and they're going to fight a Sun Tzu kind of war. They're going to destroy us from the inside out, like they're already doing currently with fentanyl and TikTok and everything like that. They're destroying our culture, right? But sooner or later they're going to get a green light, and guess what? That's when they start hitting our infrastructure. And it's possible they already started because we just had a major cyber attack happen, right? But they're going to start hitting close to home for us, where we work, right?
Yeah.
There are certain aspects of where we work that are critical.
Yeah.
They're going to start hitting those. They're going to start hitting everything, local communities, just things to make your life.
Yeah. You know what's interesting?
More difficult.
I kind of looked into this a little bit. Well, what's interesting I found is that if you look at like all of the, for example, the flight school out in Troutdale, New York, there's a helicopter flight school, and there's nonstop classes of Chinese coming in to learn how to fly helicopters from us. And so they are, I used to watch them. There used to be like 20 to 30 students, walking down the hill to get to the airport to take the training.
Yeah.
Well, what was interesting about that is they're doing that like all over the United States. So in other words, they're sending their students here.
Yeah. What if a
to get trained? And I'm like, well, what if these guys are like mapping out the United States?
What if a tenth of 1% of them have nefarious plans? A tenth of 1%.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder, like, is that a possibility? Is that really what's going on? But I mean, the bottom line is economically, they are the world power. I mean, they are taking over America. We buy everything from them. We barely manufacture anything here. We got to go to Asia to
Sure.
do anything.
Well, like so, what happens is we keep gutting our own economy, right? Because we keep sending our money to buy their shit, right?
Right.
They send our money right back to us to buy our infrastructure.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
I mean, and it's strange because
Well, it's profit money, right? Like, if China's buying from you, you want to say you own a business, selling whatever. China goes, hey, I'm gonna give you everything. I'm gonna send you all your product. You don't need to manufacture that anymore, and you're gonna get rich. You're gonna do it. I mean, you're gonna do it, right? If you look at like starting a business here in America, and you look at, well, where can I get my products from, or where can I get my raw materials from? Shit, it's cheaper to get it in China, no matter what. No matter what you talking about. I mean, look at Walmart, right? I mean, richest family, in the United States, I think. Because why? They get all of their products from China. They don't make anything. All they are is resellers. The thing that gets me is that China could, militarily, if they wanted to, step in and say, we're militarily gonna, draw the line here, and economically, no more products to America. We're just gonna cut you off. I mean, that would end us.
Yeah.
We would basically not be able to keep functioning day to day because we wouldn't have product. We'd have to reboot,
Yeah.
which would probably be a good thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that in the next year it's going to be interesting to find out what did you think of the whole Tucker interview of Putin? That whole thing. I mean, it like made the news. Like it was.
It was fine. It was fine.
To me, it was like just kind of.
It was interesting. It was boring. It was a lot of it was somebody interviewing Putin. Like somebody should interview him.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, somebody should interview him.
It's like a no-brainer.
Yeah. It wasn't
not a big deal, but just
it wasn't Tucker carrying water for him. It was like he asked him some difficult stuff. He asked him about that.
Yeah.
Journalist.
I mean, I don't know. What's interesting is that like I said, I was always a lifelong Democrat, and drink that Kool-Aid. And then what was weird is that I never used to watch Fox News, right? Just like not interested in that. But then I would on occasion watch Tucker, right, on Fox before he got fired. And I was like, God, this guy kind of makes sense, right? I started watching him more and more, and I'd be telling my wife, I was like, this guy is kind of I don't know, he resonates for some, and he's Republican, and I just really found him being more speaking truth, and then when he got fired, it was almost a validation of what I was thinking. I was like, oh, I think I'm onto something here. And then when he started his own network, right, and started doing his own thing, I was like, I don't know. The dude resonates with me, and I know people think he gives. I don't know what it is. I'm like.
He's just like Joe Rogan in that respect that he gives zero fucks. He interviewed Kevin Spacey and people lost their fucking minds.
Yeah.
Even though that dude was acquitted for any charges against anything, but you never heard about it. But he was acquitted of whatever he was accused of.
Right.
But he's still canceled. Right.
Yeah.
But people lost their minds because he interviewed him.
Right. It's like. to me, when I hear that, when I see that, that to me is like worrisome. It's like, you know what? Like, people want to stop freedom of speech or freedom of, like, dude, if he wants to interview whoever,
if there's a
what's the problem with that?
If there's a modern day Charles Manson, interview him.
I mean, yeah, that's interesting shit, right?
Why is this guy batshit crazy? I want to hear what this guy's got to say. Doesn't mean like because dude, I endorse.
What does it tell you? What does it tell you that Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson? I mean, these folks have massive followings, like more than CNN. What does that tell you?
People are hungry for honest conversation and
right, the truth, just honesty.
It doesn't even have to be.
It doesn't have to be political.
Yeah, it doesn't really have to be the truth. It has to be honest people seeking the truth,
or just like normal people talking about like normal
people
shit.
seeking the truth.
Yeah,
like because I mean I can't watch Tucker and Joe Rogan whatever and just automatically assume like whatever I hear is going to be true.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I assume.
Yeah.
I assume that this guy is an honest broker and he's doing his best to get to the truth.
Right.
Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that should be. I mean, even if you make mistakes or whatever, I mean,
and then maybe
it's like, you know, what was interesting, I don't know what show it was, or I don't know where I saw it.
It's probably snowing outside by now. I should probably...
Yeah, we should probably wrap this up. What I saw was this I don't know if it was, I can't, probably on YouTube or something. Anyway, it said, like, here's how messed up the corporate news is, right? Not only in America, but worldwide. Okay, Germany, France, I mean, Stever. And literally, like, these newscasters were repeating the exact words.
Oh, yeah.
Exact words. And I'm like, wait, how is that possible?
I've seen several examples of that. Like, they are literally...
So, I mean...
They're literally fed a script.
They're like...
By whoever.
Yeah, it's all scripted. Was that... your wife's probably saying, hey, it's time to come home. What are you doing? You can tell her that we definitely put your box in here.
Yeah. It was very productive. Yeah, this is getting to about Lex Friedman kind of length.
Oh, is it? I don't know. Hey, we're just talking like we normally talk.
Yeah.
The difference is we're recording it.
Yeah.
That's simply
it's
simply all it is.
It's 9:30.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's why I'm saying this is like we're bordering on Lex. Do you have enough hard drive space over there?
It's still recording, so we should be good. But hey, man, let me just say thanks for doing this. We talk like this all the time.
Sure.
So it's cool just to get it down and record.
Yeah. I hope somebody listens to it.
Who cares? I could care less. So.
I hope somebody likes. What is it? Likes, subscribe. What is it?
Likes,
follows, likes, and subscribes.
I don't even know what that means.
They gotta follow you.
Follow you.
And they gotta like your video.
Well, maybe you.
No, wait. No, following is the same as subscribe. I thought there's 3 things. Like. No, is it like notify?
Oh, so like, subscribe, and
notify.
Like, subscribe, and I don't know, dude. I mean, to me, it's just like, hey, I have these conversations with you all the time, and it's great just to record it or whatever. Anyway, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun hobby. It's like a hobby.
Yeah.
You know,
until you use it in a court of law or something. You know, like you're just collecting. You're like a spook. And you're just collecting.
I'm just trying to.
You didn't get. I don't think you got.
I think I have definite opinions about what's going on, and it's interesting to.
You didn't get any dirt from me this time, and I did not tell you how much Bitcoin I have. So I think I maintain my OPSEC.
I think you maintain your OPSEC for sure. And hey, let me tell you, I am thankful and appreciative that you did this.
Thanks for helping me mount my truck box.
No, my pleasure, absolutely. So, and until next time, I don't know if you'll be here local, but if not, you can do this on we'll do a Teams meeting or whatever.
Sure,
But,
I'll be around. I'll be around for a little while longer.
Yes. Okay. Well, hey man, great to talk to you.
Absolutely.
And, all good stuff. So, yeah. Till next time. Well, I guess we'll sign off on this one.
All right.
All right, brother.